like this song, Ben. I like this song. You're listening to The Mineral Way. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, Dave Michaels, every Monday, airing live right here. You can get a hold of us at 831-479-1080, 831-218-5726, or kseodave@gmail.com. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs is joining us. Pharmacist Ben, can I get a mic check?
Pharmacist extraordinaire.
Oh, okay. Pharmacist.
Don't forget extraordinaire.
I will not forget that, Ben.
What's up, Dave Michaels?
Well, you tell me, Ben. How?
I love that song, too. And every time I hear it, I think you played it before.
Yes.
I just feel so happy.
Yeah, I like it.
What is that?
That is a song that was built just for you and me, Ben. That song is exclusive for us. Nobody else can use it. It's
yeah, that's not true.
Oh,
AI?
Yeah.
Is it AI?
No, it was made by a musician. And
Do you remember you used to play that bump music?
Yes.
Well, you don't do that anymore.
Well, that's because on these podcasts, Ben, we have to use music that we own. We can't use music that is produced by somebody else.
Yeah, the bump music. I was loving that.
Oh, me too, man. I love that stuff.
Boom,
you know, I have a radio show called the Hip Hop Time Machine with DJ Chud.
No way.
Yeah, that's my nickname.
Are you DJ Chud?
Yes, DJ Chud.
I did not know that. When is on your station there? Or where?
No, it's on another radio station, but you can check it out at davemichaels.com.
I totally will. You're all over the place, Dave.
Oh, dude, I'm here and I'm there and I'm everywhere, Ben.
I love it.
Yeah.
You're radio. You were made for radio.
DJ Chud.
You're a radio guy through and through.
I love it.
Do you ever think you were born a little bit too late? Like you'd be better off, like you should have been in the 50s or something?
Maybe, but I tell you what, Ben, I am absolutely amazed and I am so thankful for the time that I am living in because of all the technological progress. I mean, it is just an amazing time to be alive.
I love it. You're not afraid of it or intimidated by it or worried about it?
No, absolutely not.
I'm not either. But I keep hearing, worry warts. I have a friend actually who lives in Santa Cruz, and he's always telling me about the horrible things that are up ahead with the panopticon. I bet you don't know what that panopticon is.
Panopticon, no.
Panopticon. That's this. There was this philosopher, mathematician named Jeremy Bentham, who lived in the 19th or the 18th century, I think, and he came up with this concept of a constant surveillance device called the panopticon that could always watch people and could always know what people are doing and report back to the authorities in power. And it was just kind of a hypothetical thing, but now, sure enough.
Yeah. Jeez. I don't think that we gave it that name, but it certainly exists in one form.
He was right on, this Jeremy Bentham guy.
Holy cow.
So do you ever get on the Longevity website?
Yes, of course.
They got a really cool blog on there, the 90 for Life blog. And I just discovered it last week.
Are you the writer of it?
No, I'm not. I am the writer of the Critical Health News articles, though, most of them, I think.
Okay.
And by the way, if anybody's out there listening, you should get on the Critical Health News or Critical Health News newsletter email list, so you can get our stuff, get our emails, and also our videos too. And then, of course, Dave.
Yes.
The Mineral Way.
The Mineral Way. That's where you can catch all of our shows. You can find an archive of all of our shows at The Mineral Way. Now, Ben, we have online a caller who's been waiting since Friday. She's been hanging on the line.
She's been hanging on since Friday?
Since Friday, dude. The phone's just been on the... Yeah.
Her bladder must be ready to burst. Since Friday, and her bowels, too. Oh, my God.
Let's see what Linda has to say, Ben. She's been hanging on since the beginning of the show. Are you ready?
Linda,
she's calling from San Diego. Linda, thank you for your call. You are in the air.
What's going on, Linda?
Well, thank you. Hello.
You're all the way in San Diego, huh?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. And so you just listen on the internet to the radio station, to the show?
I called the number that Dave gave me.
Got it. Okay. What's going on, Linda? How can we help you?
Well, I've been told I have cataracts, and I'd like to know if you've heard any success stories about cataracts.
Yeah, cataract's like a crack in your windshield. You ever have a crack in your windshield in your car?
Actually, I have.
You have?
Yes.
Yeah.
Haven't.
Oh, you've never had a crack in your windshield? Okay. Well, if you ever have a crack in your windshield, just so you know, that crack is not going to repair itself. And that's what a cataract is. It's a crack in the windshield. And I've read stuff, and I've heard people say that I don't know. I don't understand the mechanism for a crack in your lens, which is what a cataract is, repairing itself. Unfortunately, once the cataract appears, I'll tell you why it appears here in a moment. You're not going to heal it nutritionally. The trick to cataract is to prevent them from happening in the first place. The major cause of cataracts is something called glycation. Glycation is sugaring, caramelizing. Sugar is a very gooey substance. You ever make pastries or caramel? If you ever done heat sugar up in a double boiler and try to make candy, you know it's kind of goopy and sticky. Well, that's what happens in the body when we eat sugar. It becomes goopy and sticky in it, and it kind of destroys tissue. It wreaks havoc on tissue, really, and this process is called glycation. And in fact, diabetics will have to go to get their blood. They'll have to have their blood protein checked for this glycation reaction. They call it a hemoglobin A1C test. So really, you want to regard cataracts. Once the cataracts occur, you can't really do much about them except for they do these surgical procedures. And I can give you some advice for what to do if you do have a surgical cataract surgery. But the trick is to prevent the glycation from occurring, and that involves the healthy blood sugar pack, Sweeties, of course, which is the key supplement in the healthy blood sugar pack, and then the ultimate niacin, ultimate selenium, ultimate MSM, zinc FX, CFX. These are all wonderful nutritional supplements for helping the body utilize sugar. The Healthy Star Pack, of course, includes magnesium, and magnesium is one of the most, if not the most important minerals when it comes to helping the body handle sugar. And then, of course, going on a ketogenic or low-calorie or low-sugar, low-carbohydrate diet is also important. And then the second reason why cataracts form is because of the reaction of something called oxidation. I'm sure you've heard of that. And the light from the sun can cause a special kind of oxidation called photooxidation, light oxidation. That's basically rusting. If you ever looked at a rusty nail, if you put a nail in water, it goes from being a nice shiny nail into this orange crusty thing, and that's the rusty nail, and that's oxidation. That happens to our tissues, and that's how we age. And of course, using antioxidants is your best strategy there. And one of the most important antioxidant supplements you'll find anywhere on the planet, in my humble opinion, is the stuff I'm drinking right now. What am I talking about, Dave?
BTT.
BTT, high ORAC value, high oxidation. So that's really the strategy that you want to employ for cataracts. In other words, it's to prevent cataracts or to slow down their progression or its progression. Once the cataract forms, again, crack in your windshield. If it's really, really bad, then they can put a new lens in. They do it somewhat routinely, but man, I don't know if I'd ever want anybody messing around with my eyes. Can you imagine this, Dave? They take the lens out and put a new lens in?
Yikes.
In your eyes? Yeah. Yikes.
So what can she do, Ben?
Well, just said, there's not much you could do. You have a crack in the windshield, you need a new windshield. The windshield doesn't repair itself, and the lens doesn't repair itself either. So that is a tricky situation. If it's depending on how bad it is, you're gonna need some medical intervention. And that brings me to a point. There's certain things. Obviously, I'm a nutritionist, and I love working with nutrition. And the human body has this remarkable ability to heal itself. Nonetheless, there are certain things that the medical model is prepared to do. There's a lot of things it's not prepared to do, and nature abhors a vacuum, and power structures tend to take power whenever we give it up. And so the medical model does a lot of things that it has no business doing and no skills at doing. However, it does have some skills, and that is surgical procedures and repair. And when you break your leg, you need to have it repaired surgically. And when you have a broken lens or cracked lens, you need to have it surgically repaired. There's no nutritional strategy for that. There are, however, nutritional strategies for A, preventing it or slowing down its progression, and B, and this is what I was kind of alluding to a few moments ago, whenever you have a surgical procedure, this is very, very important what I'm about to say here. Whenever you have a surgical procedure, you can improve the prognosis, that is the results of that surgical procedure, dramatically by loading up on nutrients before your surgery and after your surgery. And before is really, really important. After, obviously, that makes sense. But as soon as they put the scalpel in your skin or in your body, as soon as they open you up in the surgical procedure, the healing process begins. And that's really kind of interesting. As soon as the wound occurs, healing is initiated. But that healing mandates that there's nutrients present. So anybody who's undergoing a surgical procedure, whether it's our friend Linda in San Diego with a cataract procedure, or somebody who breaks their leg and has to have their leg repaired, or cosmetic surgery, or breast implants, or removing a tumor if you have cancer, whatever it is, load up on nutrients before surgery. I'll tell you what some of these nutrients are in a minute. and after surgery. In fact, for 2 weeks before and maybe a month after, I'd be pounding specific nutrients. And those specific nutrients, really, it's all your Mighty 90, but really especially hit those connective tissue building supplements hard. And of course, that's your Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. And I know we've talked about it before, but it bears repeating. The Healthy Bone and Joint Pack is not just for bones and joints. It's for the entire part of the body that's referred to as the connective tissue, which is the part that deteriorates the most dramatically, or deteriorates most dramatically as we age. And it's the part of the body that breaks down when we have surgical procedures, because we got to dig into that connective tissue. Do you know, Dave and Linda, 80% or so of surgical procedures result in something called scar tissue, fibrosis, and this scar tissue and fibrosis that is just part and parcel of a surgical procedure can wreak havoc on the body as the years go by post-surgery. They can cause organs to malfunction, and they can cause chronic pain, they can cause loss of movement, and ultimately they can lead to other degenerative diseases. So when you're going into a surgical procedure, for a couple weeks before, load up on your nutrients, specifically your Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, and also I would throw in the Ultimate Enzymes. Interestingly, Ultimate Enzymes, of course, are digestive enzymes, and so obviously they're for digestion. But if you take your Ultimate Enzymes on an empty stomach, those enzymes, specifically the proteases, that is the protein dissolving enzymes, they'll go into your blood instead of into your digestive system to help you digest your food. If you take them on an empty stomach, they go right into your blood, and they will help clean up stickiness, especially the stickiness that can form post-surgery. And they have wonderful anti-inflammatory properties. That is digestive enzymes. Did you know that digestive enzymes are anti-inflammatory? They're so significant for inflammation or anti-inflammation that, number one, they can speed up healing post-surgery. Number two, they can speed up healing post-wounding. If you fall and you get a bruise on your hip or on your face or your head, taking your Ultimate Enzymes on an empty stomach can speed up the healing process. Number three, they're ideal for the condition that we talk about on this program all the time, dirty blood. They can help thin the blood, help improve blood circulation. And number four, they're wonderful pain relievers for back pain, for dental pain, for headache pain, and for post-surgical pain. So Ultimate Enzymes should be incorporated as part of the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack pre-surgery and post-surgery. And I'm emphasizing the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack, but really it's the entire Mighty 90 essential nutrients. And don't forget, pre and post-surgery, my favorite non-essential longevity product. I say non-essential meaning it's not like one of the Mighty 90 essential nutrients.
What is it?
It's the Fucoid Z.
Fucoid Z.
That stuff rocks.
Thank you for the call, Linda. What is it about Fucoid Z?
Oh, you know, we started the program, I told you about the longevity blog, and the reason I told you about that is because I happened to have been reading an article on Fucoid Z. And Fucoid Z, or Z Radical, although I like the Fucoid Z a little bit better, is made with a substance called fucoidin. Mm-hmm. And fucoidin is technically a polysaccharide. And these polysaccharides are found throughout nature, and their body makes them, have incredible properties for the blood. Just like I talked earlier about the digestive enzymes, the Ultimate Enzymes, helping thin the blood, Fucoid Z does exactly that. It improves blood circulation. And as we say all the time, all disease is cell disease, but all cell disease is preceded by dirty, sticky, sludgy, hyperviscous or hypercoagulable, that's what the doctors call it, hypercoagulable, that tends to clot blood. And that's because we got all kinds of, as Michael MZ says, schmutz. You ever hear that word, schmutz?
Yes.
I love that word. Schmutz gets into the bloodstream and it clogs up the blood. And you know what all of this tells us, Dave, and this is so important. Health is easy, people. It's not complicated. The medical folks want us to think that it's a big mess. It's not. It's as simple as bad stuff out and good stuff in. And when we're sick, it's the other way around. Bad stuff goes in and the good stuff doesn't. And that's really what health is about. is keep the good stuff in, the mighty 90 essential nutrients, protein, fats, and carbohydrates in just the right proportion, water, oxygen, and then, of course, spiritual, mental, and emotional kinds of things, good quality thinking and quality emotions. Those are all very important. And keep the bad stuff out. And I know everybody likes their hamburgers and french fries and pizza and, all the fast foods and fried foods and salty foods that, they're so abundant, and sugary foods and desserts that are so abundant in our culture. But there's a price to be paid. And I like those kinds of foods as much as anybody, but if you're going to indulge, at least get on your mighty 90 essential nutrients. And speaking of non-essential substances, there's a supplement that's making a lot of news lately, and it's not really a longevity supplement yet, although it should be, and hopefully it is sometime soon. And I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but this is a supplement that I've been personally taking for over 30 years, and I take it after I work out. But now we're finding out that this supplement is not just important for building muscle, but it's important for elderly people for cognitive functioning. It's also important for the nervous system, which is associated with cognitive functioning. And you're now starting to hear a lot of stuff about this wonderful supplement, which is not only important for bodybuilding and muscle building, but also for wound healing and also for improving frailty, as well as for the nervous system. It's also great for the skin, helps protect you from the sun. Do you know what supplement that is?
No.
Yeah, you do. And when I tell you, you'll know. Creatine.
Oh, yes, the old creatine.
The old creatine, right? Creatine is getting a lot of press, and for good reason. So in addition to the Mighty 90 essential nutrients, there's other things that you're going to want to use. We don't have a creatine supplement yet, though. Hopefully we'll have one soon.
Okay. Ben, before we go any further, I have an email here. It's kind of long, but I'm going to read it to you, just kind of breeze through it. Cholesterol, high bad levels. It's cholesterol in milk. Bad for humans. Is milk safe to drink? They want to eat or drink about 8 ounces per day and possibly eat some eggs for cholesterol levels. She thinks that the doctor is going to put her on statins. So her question really is about cholesterol.
You want to talk about the whole cholesterol thing?
Yeah. And she wants to know what products should we...
Excuse me while I throw up a little bit in my mouth here.
Okay.
That's the
so what is it about cholesterol?
That's the most idiotic medical myth. Cholesterol. Excuse me, I just get mad when I hear that. There's a lot of idiotic medical myths, but the cholesterol myth is near, if not at the top, of idiotic medical myths. And I hate that I have to talk to people who already agree with me. I would love to get a doctor on, so we can talk about the stupidity of some of these ideas. Cholesterol is arguably the most important molecule in the body. It's very difficult to come up with a more multifunctional and more important molecule or biochemical in the human body. Why? Because cholesterol functions as a building block for stress management, for repair, for growth, for the nervous system, and for the brain. So unless you don't care, if you don't care about your brain, and you don't care about your nervous system, and you don't care about growth, and you don't care about repair, and you don't care about stress management, and you don't care about your reproductive hormones, and you don't care about your libido and your fertility, sure, take a statin drug. This is the knuckle-headed biochemical ignorance of these statins. Now, it turns out that elevated cholesterol levels, are associated with heart disease. That's true. But it's not the cholesterol that's the problem. The cholesterol is just an innocent bystander, and it gets blamed. It's like if you have a bunch of garbage in your house or in your yard, and there's flies all over the garbage. The problem is not the darn flies; it's the garbage. And the same thing with the body. The cholesterol is the flies. The garbage is the sugar. Elevated cholesterol is a sugar issue. And any diabetic can tell you that along with their diabetes comes elevated cholesterol. Why? Because cholesterol is a building substance. You cannot build without cholesterol. So you say, well, what the heck's going on? Well, what's going on is we're tricking our body into thinking it's supposed to be in building mode. And how are we tricking our body? By eating the sugar. and the bread and the pasta and the rice and the potatoes and the French fries and the pizza and all the kind of refined, and the fruits and the fruit juices, the refined carbohydrates that we're eating in such high concentrations. You know, the average American eats 180 pounds of sugar a year.
Holy mackerel.
Holy mackerel's right. It's half a pound a day. Half a pound a day. Can you imagine? You ever seen a pound of sugar?
Wow,
right?
Dude, that's a lot.
That's a lot of sugar, right? Gosh. And so, of course, you're going to have cholesterol problems because the body reads that elevated sugar and really the elevated insulin that's associated with that sugar as a sign that it's supposed to be building. So it starts to crank out the cholesterol. The problem is not the cholesterol, it's the sugar. Treat yourself like a diabetic, and you'll notice your cholesterol goes down. You know what else? The supplements that are used to lower blood sugar, support the lowering of blood sugar, such as magnesium and chromium and vanadium and niacin, all of these supplements are natural cholesterol lowering nutrients. So if you really want to lower your cholesterol, A, get off the sugar, wean yourself off the sugar or eat less sugar. And again, sugar is starchy. It's not just, it's not just sweets. It's also starchy foods like potatoes and cereals. And B, start using your healthy blood sugar pack and throw in the ultimate niacin. Do you know that niacin has the same potency, anti-cholesterol potency as a statin drug? And it's a nutrient. Now, when you take a statin drug, there are worse drugs than statin drugs. They're not the most deadly drugs in the pharmacopoeia, but it's still a drug. You're still poisoning your system. People, I'm a pharmacist. I've been studying drugs, medicine, pharmacy, pharmacology since 1982, and I am telling you, there is no prescription drug a human being can take that is not going to have some kind of negative effect on the body. They're poisons. I'm not saying that poetically or rhetorically or semantically. They are literally toxins. And when you take a statin drug or any other drug, it has to go through the body's detoxification system in the liver. In fact, when they give you a drug, I don't know if you know this, Dave, when they give you a drug, they have to account for something called first pass effect. First pass effect is the fancy biochemical term that refers to the fact that the liver is getting rid of the drug before it gets into your bloodstream. So you take a drug, it goes into your digestive system, and then it goes into the liver. And then from the liver, it has to go through the blood. But the liver's like, what the heck are you doing in here? We're going to detoxify you right away. So the dose that you take, say you take 200 milligrams of a drug, that has to be twice as much as your body really needs to account for the fact that your liver is purifying itself or getting rid of that drug. So what does that tell you? It tells you when your body or your liver specifically sees a drug, it's like, get thee Satan behind me. It's like, get out of here. You are not supposed to be in here. You're a poison. And the drug says, well, the doctor said I could be in here. And that's true, The doctor said I could do it.
Right.
And the liver says, I don't care what that dum-dum said. You get out of here because you're a poison. But the doctor said I need to take this, right? No, liver says, no, get out of here. And while it's saying get out of here, it's saying, well, here's some vitamin C to help purify you, and vitamin E, and copper, and magnesium, and zinc. And not only does your liver have to get rid of that drug, it utilizes precious nutrients to do that. And if you're already malnourished or undernutrited, now you just compounded the problem.
Ben, we got to hold it right there. We have to take a 2-minute break. We'll be back on the other side. Paul is online. We're going to get to his phone calls, text messages, emails, kseodave@gmail.com. Text 831-218-5726. The phone number is 831-479-1080. Live every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. We would love to hear from you. We'll be right back.
What if improving your health could also improve your income? At themineralway.com, you can launch your own home-based business, something real, flexible, and proven. When you enroll, you're not just getting amazing health products. You're starting a business you can run from your computer, smartphone, or even your landline. And yes, that means you can finally take advantage of the tax deductions available to business owners. That's right, your health, your income, and your taxes can all start working for you. You'll get your own personalized website, access to exclusive training materials, and private conference and video calls with health expert Ben Fuchs, a pharmacist who's helped thousands transform their lives with his no-nonsense approach to nutrition. There's no inventory to keep, no high-pressure sales tactics, just powerful products, a clear path, and the tools you need to succeed. Work part-time, full-time, or just in between. You set the schedule. You decide how far you want to take it, and you won't be doing this alone. At themineralway.com, we give you the education, support, and encouragement to build something that matters to you and the people you help. So if you're ready to feel better, earn better, and live better, go to themineralway.com right now or call 831-218-5726. That's themineralway.com or 831-218-5726. Better health, smarter income, the Mineral Way to a better life.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
831-479-1080, 218-5726, kseodave@gmail.com, and of course you can also interact at themineralway.com. Any of those ways will be just fine to interact with us. If you have any questions for pharmacist Ben Fuchs, any of those ways I just mentioned will work just fine. Ben, our next call is from Wisconsin. His name is Paul, and he's got a question for you. Paul?
Okay. Hey, Paul.
Yeah. Hi, guys. How you doing? I was just going to add my 2 cents like I usually do here.
Okay.
Like getting back to inflammation, scar tissue. Again, that's the issue with my eyesight. Lost my eyesight the way I did. And the doctor, one of the retina specialists, explained, scar tissue inflammation. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just had to add that. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I'm not sure what that was about. Paul?
Well, thank you for the call, though.
I didn't understand that.
831-479-1080. Well, here's a question for you, Ben.
Yeah.
Our friend Steve here wants to know about what you think about fries, French fries being fried in tallow rather than vegetable oil or
It's
peanut.
better than vegetable oil. It's still disgusting, though. Tallow, tallow is a big thing in the skin business. Have you heard about tallow for the skin now?
No, tell me.
That's like something that, is like a TikTok fad. I don't really get on TikTok. Do you get on TikTok at all, Dave?
No.
I don't really get on TikTok either, but apparently there's a lot of skincare information on TikTok. And if you're out there trying to get your skin information about skincare products or skin health issues from TikTok, you probably be better off finding another source. And I do a podcast called The Rogue Pharmacist where I talk about skin. You can Google that if you're interested in really getting the straight scoop on the skin. And TikTok, apparently, there are people talking about using tallow, which is rendered beef fat, as a skincare ingredient. Mm-hmm. Bad idea. And also in French fries or fried foods, it's probably better than vegetable oil, but it doesn't mean it's good. The toxins, the hormones, the poisons that the animal eats get deposited in the fat. So tallow contains all of those toxins, tallow being rendered beef fat. There are some nutrients, probably some fatty nutrients in tallow, but really, if you're going to do French fries, I guess tallow is probably better than vegetable oil, but that's not saying much. Vegetable oil, fried vegetable oil, cooked vegetable oil is a huge problem. And that's something that Dr. Wallach's been talking about for decades, and I've been talking about it for decades as well. In fact, I've been formulating skincare products for over 40 years, and I'm always conscious about not using vegetable oils in any of my skincare products. And by the way, anybody out there who's using a skincare product, if it has vegetable oil in it, you should probably just toss it and find another skincare product. And skincare companies love using vegetable oils because they're cheap and people like the feel of them. However, vegetable oils are distorted fats. And while they're a problem topically, they're a real big problem internally, because the body's inflammation system, the system that initiates inflammation and also anti-inflammation for protection and for healing, runs on fats. And when you integrate these distorted fried fats, heated fats, into the body's inflammatory system, you can't help but end up with inflammation. And of course, we know that inflammation is behind all chronic degenerative disease. So if you want to assure that your body is in a chronic, constant, never-ending state of inflammation, eat your fried vegetable oils and all your favorite deep fried foods.
How would you compare avocado oil to tallow or any of the other oils?
Well, here's the thing: if it's fresh, and it's great. I mean, if it's on an avocado, it's great. But once you pull that oil out of the avocado, you're running into problems. Now, avocado oil is a little bit more stable than some of the other ones, but even avocado oil is a problem. All vegetable oils are going to be a problem unless they're nutritional oils. Like sometimes you'll find these nutritional oils that come in a bottle, a dark bottle you can buy in a health food store. Those are good, but they're only good for a short period of time.
And you wouldn't want to fry in them, would you?
You don't want to fry them, exactly. You can put them on top of your salad, but you don't want to fry them. You want to keep them in the refrigerator. You want to keep them in a dark bottle, and you want to away from light, and you want to make sure that you use them fresh. And that's why they have these nutritional oils, and they are good for you. There's a lot of value that you can get from them, but you got to make sure they're dark, fresh, and cold, and then they can have some value. And you can actually even use them topically. It's a little expensive to use them topically, but the real problem are the processed oils, especially the ones that come in a clear bottle. Like if you go in the supermarket, you see all these salad oils and vegetable oils in a clear bottle. If you see your vegetable oil in a clear bottle, that is a dead giveaway for an oil that A, has had its nutritional value completely removed, and B, for a vegetable oil that is oxidized, which, by the way, in vegetable oil talk, oxidation means rancidity, that has a rancid quality.
Here's a text message, Ben. It says, I was 95% ketogenic for over a year, and my cholesterol, LDL and total, only went up. Why are some people lean mass hyper-responders?
Lean mass hyper-responders. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but cortisol only goes up for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
First of all, it'll go up when you're building things. So if you're a bodybuilder, or you're an athlete, or you're recovering from surgery, your cholesterol will tend to be higher. If you're under a lot of duress, your cholesterol will be higher. And if your body is making a lot of steroid hormones, if you're in some kind of growth mode, then you're going to make cholesterol. I would have to, this ketogenic diet is really interesting because there's a lot of misunderstandings about the ketogenic diet. So I'd have to talk to this person to see what he means by the ketogenic diet. But I'm going to ask you, Dave, because you're a health guy, you're peripherally, at least in the health field. What do you think the ketogenic diet is?
I think the ketogenic diet is mostly try to stay away from sugars.
Okay.
And
what else?
That's about all I know, Ben.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So most people, when they hear that's true, by the way, it's a low carbohydrate diet, low sugar diet. But when most people hear the ketogenic diet, that's what they hear. They hear low sugar. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes you'll hear people say high fat, high percentage of calories coming from fat. And that is true. Oh. High percentage of calories from fat, low percentage of calories coming from sugar. So the ketogenic diet is a diet that's maybe 80% of your calories coming from fat, something like that, 85% even, maybe 10% or 15% of your calories coming from protein, and then a very small amount of your calories coming from carbohydrates. So something like 80, 10, 10, or 80, 15, 5, something along those lines. Okay? But the most important part of the ketogenic diet is something that nobody ever talks about, and people typically will not follow.
What's that?
Low calorie. The ketogenic diet is a low-calorie diet. Do you know the ketogenic diet was developed in the 1920s to help reduce seizures? It's an anti-seizure diet. What happened, and in fact, to this day, they'll actually recommend the ketogenic diet for patients who get seizures, and anti-seizure or anticonvulsant medicine doesn't work for them. There's a certain amount of patients who have epilepsy or seizure disorders, and anticonvulsants or anti-seizure medicine doesn't work for them. So they have to get put on the ketogenic diet, which does work for most people. In fact, anybody on Dilantin or Tegretol or whatever, carbamazepine, these anti-seizure medicines, you might want to try the ketogenic diet because anti-seizure medications are notoriously deadly drugs. They're among the worst drugs you can take. So anyway, they noticed in the 1900s, early 1900s, they noticed that that there was a history of benefits for benefits of fasting for seizures. They noticed that when people fasted, their seizures went down. Now, when you think about it, a seizure is a high energy state, and when you fast, you lower the input of energy into the body, so you calm the body down. Fasting is an incredible strategy for calming things down. There's a really cool book I was reading yesterday called Fasting Cancer, which talks about fasting for cancer. Cancer is a very hype you up kind of pathology in the body. The body's moving really fast. Cells are moving really fast, and it turns out that fasting is one of the best things you could do for cancer. And it also turns out that hospitals hate when you fast. They want you to eat. And they don't want you just to eat any foods. They want you to eat Jell-O, which is what they give you in the hospitals. But it turns out that fasting calms everything down, whether you have cancer, whether you have an inflammatory disease, or whether you have an autoimmune disease, or whether you have seizures. But people don't like to fast, or they find it difficult to fast. So they started to do some research, and they looked in the bloodstream of people who fasted, in the circulatory system of people who fasted, and they noticed that people who fasted had high levels of a special kind of molecule called a ketone. And so they figured, well, how can we get these ketones to be generated in the body without having to require people to fast? And they started to play around with diets, and that's how they came up with the ketogenic diet. And they noticed that when people went low carb, high fat, and moderate protein with a total of 1,200 calories or less, their seizures disappeared. And so the ketogenic diet was actually discovered as an anti-seizure diet. But its benefits for reducing seizures are due to the fact that it calms everything down. And because inflammation and disease and pathologies are all about the body being revved up, the ketogenic diet is the ideal diet for any health challenge, and it's the perfect diet for longevity as well.
831-479-1080. Rory is up next. He's on the phone line. You're in the air, Rory.
Hey, thank you. Here's a shameless plug for Ben's products. I had one of my daughters, who will go nameless, tried tallow on her face a year and a half ago, and it blew up on her. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like irritation, blisters, nasty.
Why did she do tallow? Did she put straight tallow or a product with tallow in it?
I don't know, Ben. I think it's back to your TikTok videos. Anyway, I said, I'm buying you some Truth Treatment and Vitamin A, 5%. And she used it, and it turned the whole thing around. She was trying other things.
She's used the 5% retinol your daughter did? That's pretty strong stuff. How old's your daughter?
Let's see. She got married. She's 25.
Okay.
She was born in 98, so let's go. Yes.
She's taking care of her
skin. She turned 26 this year.
Good for her.
But, I mean, it turned it around like magic.
TruthTreatments.com. Thank you, Rory.
Yeah. Hey, the one other thing on the ketosis and the ketogenic diet, doesn't that promote the telomeres in cell reproduction?
I haven't seen any literature that says that specifically, but I can see why it would do that. Why it would improve telomere length. It calms everything down. It slows down cell division. So it slows everything down. And that's kind of what you're looking for. As we age, we want to kind of slow things down a little bit. Aging, what happens when we age, it seems like we slow down when we age, but really cortisol, stress hormone, goes up, and the body starts to, inflammatory factors start to build up as we age. So the ketogenic diet is ideal for older folks, and by older I mean my age and your age, Rory.
And you and I are the same age.
Yeah, we're the same age.
What I tell people is you want to have nutrients, you want to work out, do all this stuff, so when you fall down, you don't break, because you're going to fall down.
Exactly. Do you know that's a leading cause of death? Is older folks fall down?
This is like 3 months ago. I was roping down a load on my pickup, and the stupid POJ rope busted, but I was on an incline, so I didn't have any back. I fell hard on my right elbow, and it hurt and everything, but I was fine.
Yeah, well, you're in amazing shape.
I chalked that up to the nutrients, plus, just staying active.
And you've been eating right. You've been taking care of yourself for a long time.
Yeah, and I've been doing the BTT every day since 2005, since I had sciatica. I said that on the air, and it. In fact, my osteopath said, load up on the nutrients.
Yeah.
Oh, this was even before. This is another thing. In the early 2000s, I ruptured my pec tendon, and I went into that surgery loaded up based on your recommendation on the BTT. All I needed was self-done physical therapy post-surgery, and I was fine.
Dave, have you ever seen Rory?
Yeah, of course. I see Rory all the time.
Rory's a specimen. Rory's amazing.
Ben, you're hilarious.
You are. You're an amazing 65-year-old guy.
Well, Doc Wallach and Dag didn't show up that day, and Doc Wallach rolled in, and that really changed the course of our family. So all my kids know about the nutrients, the colloidal minerals, and nutriating. It's been life-changing for us, and I thank you for your input. I always refer people to you.
Did we talk to your son, Rory? Did we talk to your son lately? Did your son call?
No, it was my daughter, Katie.
Oh, it's your daughter. Your daughter. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, she called, but Dom, our youngest, he's 23, and he was the one that when he was conceived, my wife and I were taking the BTT consistently, and he is a specimen. Let me tell you.
Hey, give a plug for your raspberries.
Yeah, well, the thing is, so what we've done at Plant Sciences Genetics, our raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, we've gone into the public channel. So it's going to go out under different labels. It'll be Well Picked, it'll be Good Farms, it'll be Always Fresh.
Wow.
So we've just gone everywhere. We don't care who gets the credit. But the small fruits, strawberry and the small fruits business, raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries are growing leaps and bounds because of its ORAC values.
Oh, incredible! They're the best. They're the best fruits there are the berries.
Yeah, black raspberries. It's not a big market, but we do black raspberries. It's number 3 on the list of ORAC values. Rose hips, which are in the same family, are at the top of the list. So it's encouraging to me, Ben and Dave, is that a lot of people in the younger generation, our kids, that generation, they're listening, and they're rejecting the pharmaco-medical priesthood. They're telling them to go pound sand most of the time. It's pretty amazing.
That's good to hear.
Yep. All right, you guys. Thank you.
Take care, Rory.
Thank you for the call, Rory. 831-479-1080.
Rory's got some amazing fruit, some berries, man. Holy cow. Last time I was in Santa Cruz, he brought some out to us from raspberries.
Yeah, he gets some really good stuff.
Really good stuff.
This text message, Ben, about the ketones and being ketogenic for over a year, she says, by the way, I test my blood ketones, so I'm not guessing. Also, all my other lab numbers improved while my cholesterols went up.
While her cholesterol went up. Like I said, I'd have to ask her a bunch of other questions. The most important reason why cholesterol goes up is, like I said earlier, sugar. But if you're recovering from surgery, if you're bodybuilding, if you're under stress or under some kind of duress and your body has to make cortisol, your cholesterol can go up too. So it's unusual. The ketogenic diet typically, for most people, cholesterol levels will drop with the ketogenic diet. So it's unusual. I would have to ask this gal some more questions. And while I'm on the subject, HDL and LDL are not cholesterol.
Well, what is it then?
They're HDL and LDL. Oh. HDL stands for high density, that means it's dense, lipoprotein, HDL. Lipoproteins are not cholesterol. They carry cholesterol. And LDL, low density, it's light, it's not as dense, lipoprotein, that's not cholesterol either. It carries cholesterol. And the reason they call LDL bad cholesterol is because the LDL goes into the blood from the liver. And the reason they call HDL good cholesterol is because the HDL carries the cholesterol to the liver. And that's the only thing that makes good cholesterol different from bad cholesterol. It's the same cholesterol. There's no difference in the cholesterol. It's the direction it's headed. You say, well, it's going into the blood to make cells, or it's going into the blood to make hormones. is going to the blood to make the myelin sheath for your nerve cells. What's the problem? Exactly. This whole medical nonsense of good and bad cholesterol and HDL and LDL is just craziness to anybody who understands biochemistry. And anybody who understands biochemistry is not a medical doctor, because medical doctors aren't biochemists. And while I don't want this to be about beating up on doctors, because I have a lot of good friends who are physicians, and they're really good people, and they're here, they're dedicated to make people, to improve people's lives, but they're not biochemists. And they don't understand how necessarily, some of them do, but they don't necessarily understand how the biochemistry of the body works. Cholesterol is an amazingly, amazingly valuable and important substance. Here's where it does become a problem, though. When you cook cholesterol, you produce oxidized cholesterol, something called oxycholesterol, and that can be a problem. So don't cook your eggs too much. Make your eggs soft-boiled or poached or even raw. And when it comes to your cholesterol-containing meats, because that's another place where people get cholesterol, make sure that you don't overcook your meats. In fact, eat your steak tartare. That's the best way. Cooking is really where you got a lot of toxins are created in the cooking process, whether we're talking about cooking oils or whether we're talking about cooking cholesterol, which is a kind of fat, not really an oil, but it's a fat. That's really where you run into problems, is with the heat and with the cooking. You do need to cook a little bit, but don't overcook.
831-218-5726. Hey, Dave, can Ben talk about COPD and what an ex-smoker can do to heal the lungs?
Well, congratulations on being an ex-smoker. I'm an ex-smoker myself, and I can tell you, when you quit smoking, you never smoked, did you, Dave?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
When you quit smoking, do you still smoke?
Yeah.
No, Dave. When you quit smoking, you feel so good about yourself. Oh, my God. It's just... You're high for years. You just psychologically feel like you could do anything because it's so hard to quit smoking. So congratulations for quitting smoking. And COPD is scarred lung. It's wounded lungs. So there are nutrients that you can use that help heal the tissue. Most important are the fatty vitamins, particularly vitamin E, vitamin A perhaps also. There's a great nutrient that is actually used for respiratory problems. Patients who have cystic fibrosis will use this nutrient called NAC, or N-acetylcysteine. And then second to last, make sure that you're keeping anything that's inflammatory out of your bloodstream, and that includes sugars and the oils that we talked about earlier, as well as any kind of processed foods. Keep them out of your digestive tract. If you have a leaky gut, you got to work on that, because toxins that go into the blood will ultimately find their way to the lungs. And then breathing exercises are very important. If your lungs are damaged, at least you can strengthen the muscles. And I'm telling you, Dave, breathing exercises are so amazing. I do breathing exercises every morning. I've been doing them for years. And you just feel so good when you start your day off with good breathing exercises. Go on YouTube and you can look up Wim Hof breathing. But there's a lot of good breathing exercises. There's also apps that you can get on your phone. One is called My Calm Beat. That's the one I use. And it has a little timer, and it kind of walks you through the breathing process. If you breathe incorrectly, that's just as bad as not breathing at all. Well, I don't say not. Everybody's got to breathe. Right. Everybody's got to breathe, right?
Right, yes.
But breathing incorrectly can be a problem. So if you're going to practice your breathing exercises, go on YouTube or get one of those apps on your iPhone or on your smartphone and do it in a controlled fashion, because you want to make sure that you're breathing correctly. You always want to exhale a little bit longer than you inhale. The exhale is when the body relaxes. When I say relaxes, I mean everything opens up, particularly your digestive system. And you're gonna probably think this is gross, Dave, but I'm gonna say it anyway.
All right, say it.
We have a big problem with constipation in this country. I don't know if you know this, Dave, right? It's a really big problem.
Uh-huh.
So one of the things that happens when people are constipated is they push. They do something called the Valsalva maneuver, which is where you hold your breath and you push.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, That's the worst thing you can do.
Oh.
What you want to do is you want to relax, open everything up. And so instead of holding your breath and pushing, you want to exhale and imagine that your intestines are opening up. And that alone can help relieve a lot of constipation. And while, it sounds gross to even talk about constipation, of course, it's really important, because when you hold on to those toxins, they recirculate in the body, particularly for women, because estrogen is eliminated in the stool, and when you're constipated, that estrogen can recirculate in the blood, and recirculating toxic estrogen is responsible for uterine cancers and breast cancers, reproductive cancers, endometriosis, fibromyalgia, problems with menstrual cycle issues, fertility issues. So it's a really serious condition. And learning how to relax and open up the body, partially by using the exhalation process, the exhalation phase of respiration, is really important, even just for lowering blood pressure, for helping you fall asleep, for relaxing anxiety. You know, when people get panic attacks, I don't know if you ever had a panic attack, Dave, but patients who have panic attacks will notice that they're holding their breath before they have a panic attack. And in fact, Dave, do you want to have a panic attack right now, Dave?
Sure, Ben, why not? It'll make good radio.
All right. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. And after about a minute of holding your breath, you're going to feel like you need to breathe. Well, don't breathe. Just say, okay, Ben says I want to have a panic attack here, so I'm not going to breathe. So wait another 30 seconds, and your brain's going to go, breathe, Dave. And you're going to go, nope, I'm not going to breathe. And then after about 2 minutes, you're going to start to shake, and your head's going to get really hot. And you're going to freak out, and finally you'll breathe because you can't not breathe, and that's what a panic attack is. You can actually induce your own panic attacks by holding your breath.
I'm still holding my breath, Ben.
You're still holding? Okay. Let me know when you start. Let me know when you start to panic.
Oh, Ben, you blew it, dude. You made me laugh. Now I gotta start all over again.
Do it again. You out there listening, everybody listening.
All right.
If you want a panic attack, hold your breath, and you'll get a panic attack.
Ben, we have got to get out of here. We got just 1 minute left, so I want to thank everybody for listening. And you want to listen up in case you want to order any of the products that Ben Fuchs talked about. We're going to play a commercial coming up next and tell you how exactly you can get a hold of that. So, pharmacist Ben Fuchs, that is all for today's show. We will see you next week, though.
Oh, Dave, awesome as always.
Thank you, Ben.
Okay, talk to you later.
Have
Bye.
a good day. You're listening to The Mineral Way, and again, every Monday live at 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs answers your questions, takes your phone calls, reads your emails and text messages. If you want to text, it's 831-218-5726. If you want to send an email, that's kscodave@gmail.com. And the phone number, once again, 831-479-1080. We take the calls live at 5 every Monday afternoon, Pacific Time. We would love to hear from you. That's going to do it for this week's edition of The Mineral Way. We will see you next week.
Buster, is that you? You're moving like a pup on espresso. What gives?
Thanks. Just keeping up with my routine, some light jogs, a few unauthorized trash inspections, and started taking Arthrodex.
Arthrodex? Is that one of those new chew toys with Bluetooth?
Nah, it's a supplement from Longevity. It's loaded with vitamins, minerals, amino acids, even stuff to keep my joints moving like they used to.
So, it's like a multivitamin, but it actually tastes good?
Exactly. My coat's shinier, I'm springier than ever, and the stairs don't mock me anymore.
Man, I've been getting winded halfway through Squirrel Patrol.
Tell your human to go to themineralway.com. That's where mine gets it. Easy peasy.
Done. I'm one biscuit away from entering the Zoomy Olympics.
Give your pets the nutritional support they deserve with Arthrodex from Longevity, because staying active, happy, and healthy never goes out of style. Available now at themineralway.com.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Michaels, co-host of The Mineral Way with pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Now, I could go on and on about what's inside Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0, but let's be honest, there are a million products out there with buzzwords like beetroot, CoQ10, B vitamins. You've heard it all before. But what really matters is how it makes you feel. And with Tangy Tangerine, you're going to feel better right now. You'll have more energy, more focus, and a sense that your body is finally getting what it needs. Stick with it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You'll notice the difference. Your body begins to rebuild itself. You look better. You feel better. Life just works better. And that's what makes Tangy Tangerine unlike anything else that you've ever tried. So don't just take my word for it. Try it today and feel the difference for yourself. Here's how to get your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Log on to themineralway.com or davemichaels.com. That's themineralway.com or davemichaels.com and start feeling better today.